to be able to leverage this platform. Solomon, over to you. I'll come back to wrap up.
Okay, just to come in to say you have only about 5 minutes left. So in order for you to be able to manage your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very much, Doc. And thank you very much, Tunji, for the spirited presentation. So to quickly go through this, what we're currently looking at is the Innovation Center of the MTech platform for FSPs. This is our platform that fosters innovation within for FSPs and also allows FSPs to engage with regulators. So to quickly go through this, at the homepage, there's a view of the current test products, the APIs that an FSP subscribed to from the platform, and the number of regulatory engagement that is currently present, that an FSP currently has in the platform. So a quick view of our API. API Marketplace will give you a view of the available APIs that we have that FSPs can use to engage with regulators to get reporting done. I believe Tunji has covered extensively about how the platform enables FSPs to get reporting done and to be engaged with regulators on an ongoing compliance basis. As time goes on, we're going to be onboarding open banking APIs, which innovators can use to innovate their solution before engaging with regulators. So for an FSP, a fintech, a bank, or any other innovator that is interested in the platform has an inbuilt feature where an FSP or innovator would be able to create a test product by basically inserting the test name, the product description, the category, which is fintech, and the service type, and also choosing which type of technology the product is. And once a test product is created, there is basically a view of the service and also the available APIs based on the service that the product falls under. There's also the client ID and client secrets, which FSPs and innovators can use to integrate test versions of the APIs on the API Marketplace. So as you can see on this API documentation page, there is the micro lending API that FSPs can use to get reporting done to regulators in the jurisdiction, in whatever jurisdiction that they are. So innovators can decide to, based on the client ID and client secret that they are given, try to test out their product to see if their product is at a stage that has a technical requirements to be able to integrate this industry level APIs to get reporting done. So once an FSP is able to successfully integrate the service level API for reporting to regulators, and they believe they're at a point where their product is ready to go to market, there's an onboarding page which allows them to get prepped to engage with the regulator. So for the regulatory onboarding process, you're able to select which country you are. So let's say you select Kenya or Nigeria, and also select what service that your product falls under. So in case you select an investment product, you can see here that because the CBN is currently not available on the sandbox, you'd be able to see that they are not on the sandbox, and you'd be given the option to be notified when they are. But if the CBN is, you'll be able to submit an application to go live to be approved to be on the sandbox. And this is how that process would look like. So depending on the test product that you have, you can select which test product you want to migrate to live and to engage with the regulator for approval to be on the sandbox. Also select a company profile and select which country you want to be regulated in and whether the product is currently licensed or not. and whether you're looking for a sandbox license or a sandbox application license or an actual license to go to market. So once you submit that, you'll be able to have a view of the regulator form details. That is a requirement that the regulator has before you are approved to be on the sandbox. There's a general information page which talks about information around the applicant and also the company that applicant represents. The details of the sandbox proposal, which talks about the details of the products that the regulator or innovator would want to be approved for to be on the sandbox. The testing criteria, which talks about the limits of testing and the use cases that the innovator sees being prevalent once they are in the sandbox. There's also the required attachments, which talks about the kind of documentation that is needed to be uploaded to the regulator to be reviewed for the innovator to be approved to be on the sandbox. So once the innovator is approved to be on the sandbox, they will be able to, they will essentially be able to go live. And once an innovator is live, they will be able to have access to live client ID and client secret tokens to be able to get authentication tokens that are also live, to be able to get live reporting done. There's also sandbox limit set by the regulator based on the regulator that the FSP is engaged with. The regulator has the mandate to be able to set limits around the value, the number of transactions being done, the value of transactions being done, and also the volume of transactions being done on a daily or monthly or yearly basis. However, the regulator also has the ability to request for these limits to be increased and also add supporting reports and comments as to why this increased requests are validated. The sandbox period, that is the period in which the FSP is allowed to be on the sandbox, can also be extended, and the FSP can request for the period to be extended and also add supporting arguments as to why it should be extended. So we also have on our resource page a detailed view of how the sandbox works, and also a regulatory library of several regulatory frameworks for sandboxes and also payment services across the.
I'm sorry, Solomon, I'll have to come in at this point. I think what would be good is to share if you have like a link where people can go and look at this, maybe you can share. But we really have to stop at this point because we have one or two things left on the agenda, and the meeting is meant to actually end at 3. So we've gone beyond the closing time for the meeting. So if you don't mind, I guess you've given us a good overview of the products. So we have a good idea, and maybe what you want to share is a link where people can actually go and look at it. Or you can share it with Dr. Boima and they will circulate it to us and people can look at it. So Tunji, if you just want to have 2 minutes to round up, you said you wanted to close. Yes, 2 minutes to round up.
Thank you very much, Ma. I think when it comes to the benefits, I just wanted to touch on that very quickly. We've spoken about the quality of regulatory decisions, and that's very important for innovators that want a yes, knowing that they are bringing solutions that are not only solving a problem, but also safe for the market. When you think about the broader consideration around financial system stability, consumer protection, and whatnot. So that's important because data gives you ability to make the right decision. And that data and insight is something the platform enables the regulator to see on a real-time basis. Even the innovator as well. Can then get a feel of, why a regulator may say no, because you can see the risk, and the metrics that are showing up on your dashboard, and be able to tweak the design of your solution to address some of those concerns. So time to market, streamlining the process, we talk about that of innovation. And I just wanted to say that I've dropped on the chat the MTech innovation platform that is, for the innovators to be able to engage with the regulators. So it's app.mtech.com. I would encourage all of us to sign in, right? And you will be able to get ready for regulatory reviews. You will be able to access test APIs for different service types that you might have. You will be able to find resources that will be useful when it comes to readiness for regulatory review, sandboxing, and a lot more on the platform. So thank you very much for having us. I'm sure Dr. Babatunde will have a comment on the arrangement we have for the members of the FinTech Association of Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Tunji, for that elaborate presentation, and we appreciate it. Dr. Bremer, do you have something to say on that?
Yes, thank you, Tunji, and thank you, MTech team, for the presentation. I mean, the good thing for members of, if you're a member of the association, you're able to get on the sandbox free without having to pay for any APIs until you go live. So I think it's a good package for our members. So as long as you're a member of the association and we validate that with them, you get on the sandbox free till you go live. So I think that for our members, we should take advantage of it. And we hope that the partnership with CBN will be sorted out soon so that this can actually start live. And we believe that this will speed up the licensing process. It will also speed up investments for startups. I mean, once you go through this and CBN is ready to license you, I think it's easier to get an investor knowing that you've cut off all that time of waiting 6 months or 1 year to get your license. So thank you very much. That will be the update.
Okay, thank you very much. So we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is digital lending regulation. Dr. Bremer, or have you already covered that earlier?
I already covered that in my presentation on regulators.
Okay, thank you very much. So the next, the last item, sorry, we've gone 5 minutes above the time. I know we're conscious of time, so we'll just use the next 10 minutes max to take questions and comments. We have our regulators here. I don't know if they have any comments, and then we also take questions. So please, if you have any question, kindly indicate by show of your hand. Okay, maybe I'll start because we have the CBN representative. One of the questions I was asked recently is, are the PSBs and banks in general, are they allowed to buy terminals themselves, POS terminals? Because we have the PTSP companies who are meant to supply and deploy these terminals, but we're starting to see a trend where some of the companies are buying their terminals directly. Can CBN help us address that? Are they allowed to do that? Mr. Adefuye. Well, Mr. Adefuye is still on, but is muted. Mr. Adefuye, do you want to help us address that?
Okay. If there's something for another regulator, we can take that while we try and reach him privately. Okay. Maybe it's off his desk or something.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah. Can I answer the question, please?
Yes. Oh,
sorry,
thank you.
I disconnected momentarily. You asked that can anyone can actually be a terminal owner? Hello?
Yes.
You know, anyone can actually be a terminal owner in terms of owning a terminal.
Yes.
But you know, you still have to go through the necessary connection, which now has to be recommended by the banks, because you know you have to connect your terminal to an account. So this is where an acquirer comes in here, and it has to go through this terminal management system with NIPS, where you'll have to get it registered, connected, and then it becomes active so that you can use it. So being a terminal owner, anybody can actually be a terminal owner. You can own your own terminal. Because I even observed a trend recently for some of these mobile money operators that, you know, before now, they used to give out these terminals to agents. But after some time, they just decided that, okay, the agents should even own the terminal. They should come and pay for it. Because a lot of them have been issued out to agents, and even they cannot even trace the whereabouts of the terminals anymore. So it's even more cost effective for them to even sell it to the agents. Let the agents own it. So if you like, use it to do business. If you like, disconnect it. They don't even care. You get it. So being a terminal owner is not really the thing. Anybody can be a terminal owner, but just that you still
so
have
anybody
to,
is allowed to bring in the terminals. That's what you're saying. They don't have to go through the PTSPs.
to
It's
go
only
through
when they
the,
want to register that terminal.
yes, you know, there is a guideline that guides the operation of the PTSP. And basically what that guideline says is that they are more or less involved in the management of the terminal.
Yes.
Do you get it?
Yes.
That is it. But even if you go ahead and buy a terminal that does not conform to the standard that we have in the market, you will not be able to connect it. That's actually the truth. Because you know, there are programs and software that needed to be installed on those terminals. And these softwares are actually certified by NIPS.
Yes.
So if you now go and bring a terminal that cannot work with those softwares, you know, automatically those terminals are null and void. You understand what I mean? So,
yes.
So that's why you should also be cautious. But there's really nothing restricting anybody from owning a terminal.
Okay, I just feel that, and that's fine, but I think the CBN should also look at it well to be sure that the business of the PTSPs are not being threatened. If people are able to bring the terminals, register their own solutions on it, they are meant to register through NIPS, as you've said. So that's fine. Let's hope that that process is being followed.
I want to understand, how are the businesses of the PTSP being threatened?
So as an example, in the past, most of these terminals are actually bought in through the PTSPs. They're bought in through the PTSPs, and then they are registered with NIPS. I mean, for the solutions you've mentioned, for any terminal that is being used in Nigeria, it has to be certified by NIPS, if I understand the regulations well. So it's certified by NIPS, and the solution has to be certified by NIPS. But I think there's a trend now where some people are bringing in their terminals themselves and are able to put solutions. But let's see what happens. I'm just saying, look out for that to be sure. In the past, actually, terminals were being bought in by only the PTSPs. They were not, some of the companies were not bringing in the terminals themselves because they needed to have those terminals registered.
Anyway, sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
You see, the thing is, there was some research and investigation done along that line.
Okay.
What really happened? A lot is happening in that space, actually. In terms of people getting their terminal, they collect directly. You know, even we are even talking about banks. People get terminal and connect to an MMO, connect to a microfinance bank. Do you understand? There are so many options. People even bring in terminals and they are not even connecting through NIPS. They are connecting directly. They are connecting through other channels, maybe an IP. You see, to some extent, when you also look at it from the angle of innovation, you know now, most of the terminals out there are actually what I can call analog. You know, but now more and more people are bringing in Android terminals.
Yes.
And some of these Android terminals have apps already on them. They are more or less operating like internet banking or mobile app.
On your phone.
Or just on your phone, you understand? So if you now start restricting too much that kind of terminal, this, that, you're also strengthening innovation to some extent. So that is why to some extent, we have not really made a decision to say, okay, only these people can bring in terminal. Only this kind of terminals is accepted. Do you understand? We don't really want to really have that restriction to that level. So, but if, like
I mean,
said,
that's very good. I like hearing that from you, saying that you don't want to restrict innovation. That's
yes,
really
that's actually the truth, because
yeah.
that is the implication, because we even found out that the people that are even doing most of these things are actually the big banks. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And to be very frank with you, some of them, the reason given is very tenable. For example, I'll give you an example. Some of them claim that they brought in a lot of Android terminals to serve the people in the Northeast. If CBN is pursuing financial inclusion agenda and the Northeast people are excluded, and somebody now brings an innovation that says, okay, you know what? Most of the cell sites in the Northeast, the telco sites, they are down. But there are still these ISP providers that are operating in that place. And if you get an Android terminal to that place, if you connect it through Wi-Fi, this thing will still be working. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Then that way they are able to provide a lot of terminals in that region, and this is helping financial inclusion, obviously. So you can understand. So that's the reason why we're just saying, okay, let's sit and wait. Let's see how does it play out then. If there is need to restrict, then we'll come.
Thank you very much, Mr. Defoe, for that response. Okay, do we have any other comments? Comments or questions? Okay, Senator Heyer, your hand is up.
Thank you very much. I would like to make a comment regarding digital lending platforms. This has been a biting issue in the space. We continue to see the abuse of that platform, and we see many people being whose rights or privacy rights are being violated daily. I see that we have resolved that the best way to go with it at this time is some kind of self-regulation, whereby perhaps we start promoting an association of digital lenders, and then there will be standards and all of that set up for that. While CBN is looking at perhaps drafting the rules regarding that. I wanted to suggest, right, because this is an area that is quite critical. I would like to say that should we not be looking at a self-regulatory model that is driven a bit by the regulators, in this case, perhaps the CBN, perhaps the Federal Consumer what's it called? The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council will also be involved. Perhaps NITDA will also be involved there. In other words, when the self-regulatory association for digital lenders is being set up by the private sector, should we not have a model whereby these concerned or relevant regulators are able to play some role, perhaps in terms of reviewing the standards, perhaps in terms of perhaps sending a member to the board, those kind of things. These are the stuff we see in advanced countries. That it is self-regulated doesn't mean that it has to be 100% private sector. Why I have had to comment on this is I fear that if we leave it as it is, we may not have any concrete steps or actions taken until we have another disaster in our hands. The issue is already a national disaster. I mean, I run a law firm and I cannot count how many persons knock on our doors regarding violation of their rights by digital lending platforms. So it really is something that we need urgent steps. It's an emergency. The FCCPC has made some moves recently where they arrested some of these digital lending platforms who violated Nigeria's laws regarding their businesses. So I'm just to close, I'd like to suggest that the regulators, the relevant regulators, now I do not see one single regulator being the player here. I see need for some kind of interagency cooperation so that while it is privately driven, we can still have some level of regulatory, what's it called, help or assistance, so that this is not seen as some kind of just something that some private sectors are playing. If otherwise, we might have 3 associations of digital lenders in the country, and that really defeats the purpose of the whole thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the comments. I think it's a good one and it's noted. Dr. Bremer, please, let's note the comments in our further engagements on this issue of digital lending.
Noted, madam.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, so if there are no other comments, thank you very much. Thank you to our regulators for joining. Thank you to everyone, our partners for joining, and thank you to our key presenters today, the MTech team. We appreciate you all, and thank you everyone for joining. We look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. So have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.